Good morning. Good morning, FYI family. Folks, it's Monday, the 23rd day of December 2024 in the year of our Lord. Can you believe that? It's surreal to me. Just saying it, that it's the 23rd day of December already. We got another 7 days, another 8 days left in 2024, and then we're out of it. Perhaps for the good. Gavin Jacobs, let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. Denzel and Denzel Carmichael and all the other folks who are joining us. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. Please and thank you. It means the world to us. Let us know if you're hearing us. Yeah, 23rd of December, folks. 23rd of December. Believe it or not, that's where we are. That's where we are this Monday morning. Great to have all of you on the line. We hope that the day has started well at your end. That is our hope, that the day has started relatively good. Again, grateful to have all of you here with us. We had a great weekend this end. We hope that you guys did the same. We hope it was the same for you folks, that you guys had a great day too. If you're hearing us loud and clear, let us know. You know, we got some tweaks in the system of recent, some little bugs as it were. We're trying to work out. So bear with us. We're seeing a blank screen right now. Bear with us, beautiful folks, if that's what you're seeing too. Bear with we. All right, here we are. Let's see, guys. The Honorable Nima Bass is on the line this morning. Good to have you, MP. Patricia San is here too. Nima, I hope you put away, you put back. I never could remember if put away means you break up or it means you fix back up. Let me know, guys. Let me know. Put away, it means you break up or you. I can never figure it out. I can never remember. You know, you break up or you set her back. When people say put away. Pinky Kerr, good to have you. Again, the Honorable MP, Nima Flubats. Marlon Thomas says loud and clear. Brenda Solomon is here too. Rohan Basantram, good to have you. Rohan, got a couple of things we're going to shoot you guys this morning. I'm at the bottom of a cold black cup of coffee. You know, my relatives in the US, they were telling me over the weekend how cold it is. How cold it is. How you guys doing? Queens, New York, how you doing? Brooklyn, how you doing? How's the weather? Teresa Azor Hazel, Rena Cummins on the live this morning. Good to have you folks. It's good to start the day at a couple of good folks. You know how we say? Yep. Nima says she's now trying to clean and fix to my family. Yeah. We put people first all the time. Your family suffers. Yeah, I know how it is. Know how it is. Pinky Kerr says, put away means you fix back. All right. Remember Simba. Nima says it's cloudy at her end. I know some folks are heading into the cold. for Christmas. Marlon Thomas says it's very cold in New York, in Queens rather. Well, New York still. Very cold in New York, in Queens. Very cold. Very cold. I wish some of you would send us some photographs we could post. How cold it is. You know, I had a Sunday morning, Sunday morning, yeah. I had a beautiful walk in the National Park. Put in a 5 laps. It was cool. It was a cool walk. It's when you all say it's cold. I might try it next year. Let me see how we get through this election. I've never spent a Christmas in the US. I came close. Once. I came close. I was in the US around November, early November. Yeah, came close. I remember being with a colleague of mine in Green Acres Mall. Is that in Queens? Y'all help me. You know, we were there for a little while, walking around. And the weather kind of creeped up outside. See when that door opened and that cold catch me? I stepped back in far. I do a lot of coaxing for me to come out. Nigel Hector says it's cold in Brooklyn, cold in Queens, cold in Queens, cold in Brooklyn. Right? Gavin Jacob says Baltimore County, it's cold. Cold in Baltimore County. Guys, we're sending you some of this Caribbean warmth. Sending you some of it. Lots of it. Caribbean warmth. We're sending you some of it. Sending you guys some of it. Shamar Sharples. Am I calling it right? Shamar Sharples. Good to have all of you on it this morning on the live. Margaret Nelson says in Somerville, 29 degrees. That's up north, folks. Or rather up south, sorry. I tell you all, I ain't firing all it this morning. 1.5. I'm not firing in all 8. Up south, folks. Up south. Somerville, 29 degrees. So, Margaret, I'm figuring there's no walking this morning. Walking around the house. You're going around the battery side. Morning, Toby. Joining us from Port Khartoum, I think. Unless she's in Belladrum. Morning, Toby on the live this morning from PK. Know some of you wish you were home. You know, some folks come to escape the cold. Come to escape that cold and then you go back. 15 degrees. Gavin Jacob says in Baltimore. 15. Good to see Siobhan McDonald, Tuana Green, Lyndon Gill, Dolly Anderson, Rohan Basantram is here. Colvis Bino on the live as well. It's a privilege having all of you here this morning. It's a real privilege. Let's touch on a couple things, folks. A couple of things, not plenty. I trust you guys had a great weekend. You know? Trust you all had a great weekend. No doubt, let me come down a little bit. No doubt some of you pack your barrels. You sent your things home already. Things that got to be sent. You only trusting that the shipping company come through. You know? You only trust the shipping company comes through. Yeah. Deborah Pearson says it's 33 degrees in Chicago. My kind of town, Chicago. 33 degrees in Chicago, folks. 33 degrees. 10 degrees in New Jersey. My God. My God. Kevin says it's 12 in New York City. 12 degrees. 15 in Brooklyn. 33 in Chicago. Some of you, I wish you were in Chicago. New York, could I get an amen? Wish you were in Chicago. Thank you, Nima Flubas, MP. Just he's sending some warmth and love to those in the cold. Yep, sending all of it. Sending all of it. You can say a prayer for our brother Rio Nelson. Down with the flu, Margaret says. And Margaret says it doesn't seem that she's far behind. But that's happened, you know. Wherever the wife got, the husband got. Wherever the husband got, the wife. The wife got, you know. Margaret says she's far behind. Yeah. We can say a prayer for you guys. Definitely. Definitely. But for now, we're sending some warmth. You know. Sending some warmth your way. Great to have all of you. Whatever form life finds you. Great to have all of you on the live this morning with us. It's been the third day of December. And we're going to head into the city later on and see what's going down, what's left. A lot of people out, but not everybody shopping. I noticed that the couple of times I went in town. You know, a lot of people moving. You know, they say movement is not the same as progress. A lot of people to and fro. Some people looking for it, you know. Some people looking for it. They go there hoping something happens. They could bring home. They could make a bread, eat your food. You all know how we say it colloquially here. People hoping they could make a bread, eat your food. I saw a rig in Trinidad off the Gulf of Paria collapsed. One missing. That's the vicissitudes of oil and gas production. And that's why we've been asking here for, you know, a coherent plan. I see the rig tilted like this. Gulf of Paria and Trinidad and Tobago. It's quite a scene to see that. We got our own calamities here. We got our own calamity. You know, Tyrrell Fraser, Evelina Whitaker. We got our own calamities. Own calamities. I've never known a bad Fraser. All the Frasers I know, relatively good people. None of the vouching for Tyrrell. Tyrrell, I think, is saying to us, it's 12 degrees in Toronto. Is that so? 12 degrees in Toronto. When I was living in Trinidad, I remember I had a manager. Oh, he was a Toronto fanatic. Soon you turn around. But when I went to Toronto, when I was in Toronto, you know that kind of people? Every 2 sentences, Toronto, Canada, Toronto. How do you go now? 12 degrees. Freeze yourself off. 12 degrees. 12 degrees. Dolly Yvonne McFarlane. Is it Mashari McFarlane? Good to have all of you. Deborah Pearson, Jessa Sunich. Good to have you on the live. Melissa Edwards, Ural Day. Yvonne says it's 9 degrees in Cambourne. She's in the UK, in the United Kingdom, where they keep the king. In Cambourne, it's 9 degrees. Yep. Right. And I see Pat Premo says it's 13 degrees in Brooklyn. But mentally, I'm buying 2 egg ball now on 5th Street. Mentally, buying 2 egg ball in 5th Street. I ain't going to have to and call your name. I'm going to go and have to and call your name. Folks, for the last 4 years, I hear him but right up. But I'm not seeing it. 4 years out. I'm hearing about Riot Act. You know, early in the PPP's tenure, there was a massive scandal at Guy Oil. Massive scandal. Everybody who got moved, shift around, musical chairs, tucking knives someplace else. There was an underhand scheme about importation of heavy fuel oil, where they were trying to do a backroom deal. We can put on paper that the oil costs 10 US a barrel. Just using that as a number. But it's really 7. Right? 2 can go to the mastermind, and then they can split $1 among the others. And of course, if you're bringing in 10 million barrels, you can see how that could add up. The CEO was moved only after a lot of exposure. We had interviewed one of the fellows at the heart of it. One of the persons at the heart of it. We had interviewed him. And a day later, it was a press conference with Arfan. Make a big fuss. Move the CEO, and he cushy now. Again, get a nice cushy, big pay, lots of fringe benefits. And then there was another fella. He was another big name there. Everybody cushy. You see? Management and leadership by right act. This is a government. It's a presidency that believes talking tough alone is leadership. And sometimes in leadership, I would admit, you gotta talk tough. But that alone can be leadership. So over the weekend, we heard Irfan Ali saying on his own social media show now in the seat. It's a weird setup. He has a show in which people interview him. It's kind of weird. When you have a show, you think about you talking to people. But he invites people to interview him. So some very lovely journalists interview him on a range of issues. Ain't got no quarrel with them. But it's a weird setup. His show, you know, he wants to be out there like us. He wants to be out there like us. But they got to ask him the question. You know, here from real back to front. So over the weekend, in this seat, for how long? He said they brought up Gaisuko. They brought up GPL. Cash grants came up too. He said he read Gaisuko management, the Riot Act. That if by next year, 2025, 5 years after they took power, billions later poured into Gaisuko. Remember, the Abdul AFC government, they said they didn't know about sugar. They didn't know about sugar. They didn't know about planting cane, harvesting cane, as Beth says, blah, blah, blah. No, my boys, they didn't know about sugar. And they're going to make sugar great again 5 years later. Mind you, all of the failures premise on the last government. Right? All of the setbacks is the last government. They were in 23 years prior to the last government. But it's the last government. That was the problem. Is they give you this sugar industry the way it is? And so 5 years later, Irfan Ali is saying, if by next year, the election year, if by next week, really and truly, they can't turn things around, heads gonna roll. I have read them the Riot Act. Folks, Bernadette Duncan, Upright Youth, Bridget Mohan, Gwinnett. There's an adage. I don't know if it's unique to Guyana. I think it is. But rain careful, do careful. That's the short of it. But rain careful. So what we can do in 4.5 is that we can do in 5. We're doing 4.5. They said they're going to make all the estates. They manage one, but they didn't produce nothing. They just hire a lot of people, but it's not producing anything. They have revised their own targets 2-3 times down in any given year, and they're not even meeting those targets. But Irfan over the weekend says, I have read them the Riot Act. And that's me sad. I'm not kidding you. I read them the Riot Act. And the better don't come around me funny. That's what he said. Take a look.
I'm a person who like to be held responsible for everything I say. And one of the things you also mentioned in the last interview was Guy Suku. Just to let you know, I don't shy away from issues, as challenging as they may be. I've read the Riot Act to the management of Guy Suku. I've let them understand that we are very dissatisfied with the performance, notwithstanding the difficulties that we know they have, and that is the condition of the field, which is more or less fixed now, but the downtime in the factory. So whilst we invested heavily on preparing the fields and having the canes in the field, the focus on the factories and that were left abandoned and left shut down for a long time. The maintenance of these factories was non-existent. So the breakdown and the shutdown time in factories would have impacted the production tremendously. We sat down with them. They brought together an investment plan that is needed to keep the factory working, to keep the factory efficient. We have supported that investment plan. So I made it very clear that if the target for 2025, the first crop target and the second crop target, if the target is not achieved, we're also bringing in the technical support to help them. But if those targets are not achieved, then heads will roll. If those targets are not achieved, heads will roll.
Yeah. So the Riot Act was read. Here, Abdu, it's them. They give you a bad hand. They give you a bad hand. Them boys campaign on the fact we can make sugar great again. Then say asterisk, depending on how we get this thing from them boys. And you know all that he said is untrue. It was down, and these things were down for so long. So let's say they were down for 5 years. It took you 5 years to get them back. It took you 5 years to get them back. But I have read them. The Riot Act. How many times have we heard this? This Riot Act, like the cash grant, it's coming. Right? It's coming. Naomi, it's coming. You get some people vexed. Some people like this coming for so long. This Riot Act And missing the riot. It's just the act we got now. I've read the riot act. 5:30 meeting. Riot act. 5:30 meeting change nothing. 5:30 meeting change nothing. You could believe you could have a system so endemic with corruption, and one meeting hard enough and people could change anything? Shouting at people. Right act is not leadership by itself. It's not leadership by itself. And sad to say, that is the kind of country we're building, where systems don't work. Only when Ali coming through. And once Ali gone, back to normal. As you were. Sandra Hanover, as you were. Sandra says everybody heads rolling at the end of the year. But all year round, laissez-faire, lax, lackadaisical. And that's accepted. That's accepted. You see, people understand after a while. This is just show. Let me go along. Let me go along with it. We good. I got to go out and talk loud. I got to shout down a little bit and so on. That's a show of leadership. I got to show that I'm strong. But we good. You don't think nothing. You all remember when Irvin Ali went back to Mara after 2 years? And he was surprised nothing was done. After all of his edicts and decrees and so on, the road didn't build, the pensioners didn't get in the pension in New Amsterdam, the culvert didn't fix. Nothing was done. You know, it's one thing when people understand where the real power lies and understand you just theatrics and making yourself a clown. So I read them the Riot Act. Sheila Boychan, he read them the Riot Act. Jonet, Yvette, Andrew, Nigel Plass, I've read them the Riot Act. How many times we saw these high-powered meetings at State House? You know, executives sitting around earphone and everybody look serious. We can get it right this time. After the pump another 50 billion in, we can get it right this time. You see, if Earphone and Jack Dio had to go there, earn the money, that's spending different, you know. You could always tell people who are not driving their own vehicle. When you see them operate on the road, you realize, that's the car. When you know the end of the month you got to pay the banknote, or the struggle it took to acquire that car, you drive it differently. You drive like you're driving Miss Daisy. You're in the corner. But you can often tell when you see the risk people take out there. You know, what's the word we used to use when we were young? Chapters. People chapters in. As Guyanese, we talking beautiful, concise ways. You chapters in. It's not eating. That's not eating. He borrowed somebody's thing. When the thing is yours, you treat it differently. If they had to work for that money, they treat it so different. Beth, thanks for that contribution. Thank you so much, Beth. Made a contribution, our channel, our YouTube channel, it shows up in real time. Thank you so much. Beth says, keep up the good work, Sherrod. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If they had to earn that money, they spend it so much differently. If they had to produce that money from a non-oil economy, but you see, the last administration took the time and hammered out the framework for the Natural Resource Fund, into which that gas, that oil money for now, that oil money is flowing. So them boys came into power, turn on a tap, install into power, turn on a tap, money starts flowing out. They didn't earn that. And so in some of these policies, the chapters in, they bring a power ship from Timbuktu, Kazakhstan, somewhere in the Middle East. It parked in the Denver River, and they're now touching up the wires. Billions of dollars this ship is costing us every day. We're now touching the wires to run to the ship to bring the power from out here in the Denver River onto land. Right? How long we heard this announcement? A second power ship was coming. Them boys now building a hole to plant a pole to bring the power online. And the more hole they dig is more pole falling down. You all know the whole thing. The more hole they dig, the more pole they plant, is the more pole falling down. People ain't got strong poles. Poles falling down left, right, and center in the PVP. You all know Jack your pole fall down long now. Anil, Kwame, what's yet? Poles in the PVP don't stand up long. Don't stand long. Nope. So more hole dig, more pole falling down. We're not getting value for dollars spent in this country. We're not. We're not. Don't let it fool you. We're not. So the boat out there, millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. We had Blackwood all day yesterday. All day yesterday. All day yesterday. But I could only watch the lights from the ship. I could only watch the light from the ship. As Irfan Ali was talking about reading the riot act to Gaisuko, he says, you know, GPL heads gonna roll there too. That's what he said. He said heads gonna roll there too. In the new year. By the time we get to the next election, them boys thief up so much money, they don't need that job anymore. They don't need that. You'll see some of them open their own power company and want to supply government with power. They open their own power company and want to supply government with power. So on that show, on his show, over the weekend, in the seat, he raised this issue of GPL as well. Riot acts being read left, right, and center. Take a listen.
You've invested. You know, many people are speaking about the second power ship, but the second power ship is not connected as yet, and we're not paying for any power as yet from the second power ship because the transmission line has to be in place. That transmission line, they're working on that transmission line now so that it can be connected to the second power ship because we could not have used the existing transmission system. I said before with GPL that we inherited in 2020 a scenario where no investments were made on the transmission and distribution line. So you can see the work going on now to bring that heavy duty transmission line, interlink it with the control center so that the power can be taken off safely and reliably from the ship and distributed throughout the system. Notwithstanding that, I've made it very clear to the management of GPL that heads will roll there too, that if we don't see with these investments marked improvement by the end of the first quarter, end of January, we'll start looking for the type of improvements that I expect out of GPL. Then heads will roll. We are also examining, not examining. We are working now on securing uh, the technical expertise that can help in the management of GPL, whether it means to have a management contract, a management support contract. Though we are examining that right now, because I will tell you, like every Guyanese, and I understand the frustration. We are investing to make it better, and we will hold accountable the persons who ought to ensure the system work better.
Yeah. Heads gonna roll. 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 5 years later, 2 power ships. How much are the injections? By the end of January, by the end of the first quarter, shifting targets. By the end of January, by the end of the first quarter, if we by the end of January, by the end of March, if we don't see the kind of all day yesterday blackout. I just watching the lights on in the power ship, but in darkness. Millions being paid to them daily. I watching the lights on by them, and they watching me in the darkness. And then boys up on the pole, lashing, knocking, something. See? Irfan says, heads gotta roll. At GPL 2, he says, heads gonna roll. We don't look too clearly. Nobody can ever vote, you know. There's so many decapitations. You know. So many decapitations next year. You ain't gonna nobody to vote. Nobody to vote. Heads gotta roll, he says. Heads gotta roll. You know, I asked this morning. I see all of you on the live. Marlin, Levigo, Karen, Asha, Andrew Griffith, Doug, Dougie, Don, Patricia Sana, Dolly. How many cash grant? Who heads gonna roll there? That's all I want to ask. This cash grant business. Who heads rolling there? Folks, on the 10th day of October, I remember this clearly because it was the day Parliament was coming out of recess. Parliament goes into recess on August 10th and comes out of recess on October 10th every year. That's the break period. 10th of August to the 10th of October. And on the very day Parliament came out of recess, everyone went to the National Assembly. You all remember that? Or just me? As we say in the vernacular, Joel, Deborah Marshall, a lion? As we ask, a lion? He went to the National Assembly, chest up in the air, like a rooster. He said, I'm going to left the opposition in the dust now. I'm going to left them in the dust today. 10th day of October. I know this way they look around for affirmation. I am pleased to announce, he said, $200,000 cash grant per household instantaneously. You watch up to see God watching. You know. That says applause. When you see the look wrong, sir. You say something good, Chief. Big Sahib. That's signal to bring him all along, put it on. Yes, you've done well. 10th day of October. But like all the polls that fallen in the PPP, they're coming. But then coming. Right? It's a fake come. They're coming. You should see the comments on TikTok, on YouTube, when we posted that cash grant. The more they come in, is the more cussing. Guyanese of all political persuasion, religious denomination. The more they come in, is the more cost to get in. Why are you taking so long? You enough do this thing. I wasn't telling them. We can do it better. We got the fortitude. Right? We got the competence. Coming. Ever learning. But never coming to the knowledge. Lash out the scripture down your chest. It's Monday. Monday the 23rd, folks. We're on the cusp of it. That big day. We're on the cusp of it. And we're still coming. By now people fed up. When you see you could do this, work good. People try 1 time, 2 times. I know you're vexed. Don't waste people's time. Said you can do it or you can't do it. Don't waste people's time. These are sensitive matters. Economic matters are like matters of the heart. Very sensitive. Everyone coming, huffing, puffing. How is really right? Act to yourself. If he can't even get it right, he can apologize now to Gaisuko. If he can't even get it right, he gonna apologize to GPL. Wait, he gonna read Jag get it right after Jag you gonna read it back to he? But I put a Mark Phillips, is he? Is he got distribute this thing? So instantaneous became November month end. Right? And then they talk about verification. And then they say, oh, only 5 regions can get it first. The other 5 gotta wait after the budget. One reporter who he told a couple months ago from Starbucks News, she asked him over the weekend as he was in the seat. He said, you tell me November month end. And then she said, you tell me before Christmas. What happened now? It's only left he says up new. They didn't left a list. It's only left he say up new. It's they can't get it yet. You tell me November 110 after the 10th instantaneous, October 10th, and instantaneously you say November 110, and then you tell me before Christmas. She said next week is Christmas. She said this week is Christmas. Now it's gone to by year end. He coming all this time. coming all this time. But when is it? What's people tell you coming, but you don't come in. Like lang. What's people say if you're coming, but you don't come in. You got me waiting here. I got things to do here, fun. You tell me before Christmas here, fun. What's going on? Huh? What's going down? What's happening here? Oh Jesus, he go wrong. He come around. It's a big plane, this cash grab. It's a big thing. He trying to land it. He get wrong, circling the runway. It's this problem. Oh, in region 9 is this. Oh, he didn't know it before. Oh, in region 5 is this. In region 6 is the problem. In region 7 is the cane field. In region 6 is the punt. In region 2, oh, the boundary control room. Oh my God. He coming. He ain't coming. He slimmed down. You think he'd come faster? Not true. Not true. You could see the journalist was exacerbated, frustrated. Jesus, like, come already, please. Please. The thing done big. 100,000 ain't no big money. You have been waiting. These Danish cookies ain't gonna buy themselves. The little walnut and the ice apple. They ain't gonna buy themselves. Come on now. They ain't gonna buy themselves. They ain't gonna listen to some of what he said on the cash grant. Who you in the right act to know? I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
We try to ensure that transparency is built into every aspect of this, which require the banking system, the Auditor General Office, the Ministry of Finance, the regions, everything to work in a coordinated manner. The public servants and pensioners would definitely get their checks. Many pensions would have already received in some of the regions. So the public servants, their checks will definitely come. So the registration process is ongoing for region 4 at the moment. So let me explain to you. Region 9, for example, is almost completed. Every person in region 9 would have received their received a check. Just a few checks are outstanding. Now, let me tell you the additional complication. Now, checks ensure there's transparency, another layer of transparency. But checks also brings a bureaucracy with it. Because when you go to Crowdar in Region 9, the people don't have any access to banking. So you give them their checks in Crowdar, how do they get the cash? So we then had to go and work with the commercial banks, get a security infrastructure so that they could have cashed their checks in the village themselves. So that is Region 9. So that's an added layer. In Region 1 and 8, they're working right now. As I speak to you, they're working right now they have already captured the registrants, and the checks are being paid out in Region 1 and 8. Region 4, they're capturing of persons. Have you registered as yet? Right. So the capturing of persons in Region 4 is ongoing, and we are hoping that once there's enough data in the system, that we'll start paying out the checks also for Region 4. Before the end of the year, some of those checks will start to be paid out. As I said, the public servants and the pensioners, those are already, the database is there, that will already be in the system. We've also announced a number of other benefits that the system has to process, including the almost 26,000 persons on the disability register, persons living with disability, that now have to get that $35,000 check. So all of those things are being processed. So I would say that the building out the process, having the app in place, having the entire flow chart of what has to be done would have taken an additional time, but additional time that was worth it, because it's additional time that allowed for the verification, the means of verification, and the built transparency that we wanted in the system. Yeah. Then pensioners and public servants, their check will be cut in the system before the end of the year. So let me explain to you what happens. When you collect the in Region 9, you collect the data for everyone. Everyone will go and register, which may include pensioners, include public servants. The system that is built then differentiate, because otherwise it takes out the duplication, any potential duplication, so that one person would not be paid as a public servant and receive during the registration. So that's another process that has to take place. So yes, they will get their check, but I was just explaining to you the additional layers that became necessary. You know,
Yep. Next year at elections, the people of this country got to read this government the right act. You hear all of that. And Irfan Ali stood in National Assembly on October 10th, and he said instantaneously, families are getting this money. Now he says Ashni is Auditor General, is flow chart, is bar graph, is pie chart, is Chowdam, is the banking sector. Everybody else is the problem but them. It's Apno AFC, it's Granger, it's Norton, it's Cathy, it's David, it's Nigel, it's these folks from Anug. It's them. Instantaneously, $200,000 per household. Now it's the AG, is Auditor General, is Finance, is the bookkeeper, is the gardener, is the payroll man, is the power ship, is the IT technician, is the app. You heard that? The flow chart, and the bar graph, and the pie chart. Additional setbacks. He said, he's a transformational leader. GPL and working. Gaisuko and working. Cash Grant and working. He's a transformational leader. And they went to the National Assembly. They can snatch land from ordinary Guyanese folks. If you're squatting, you got title, you got transport, they don't care. And in that very interview over the weekend, Irfan Ali says he wants to build an inclusive Guyana. An inclusive Guyana. Interestingly, in a letter in this morning's press, Lincoln Lewis points out, even inclusive Guyana is what we're aiming for. How come the government seem to be targeting one set of people all the time? If you want an inclusive one Guyana, how come it's only one set of people being targeted? The thing looks strange. You know, just last week we were debating in the National Assembly this bill concerning land and the acquisition of land. Them boys don't want to compensate you first before they do the land acquisition. And land acquisition in this format is a part of every country's law. If you want development, then citizens surrender some rights that they have. But what the Constitution says, you must compensate people properly. They won't give you next to nothing. So you got to get out your place now. As soon as they turn up, don't even ask me why we here. You just got your backs back. They want your place. Kamraj Ramjatan says, that's not how this thing's supposed to work. He was one of the parliamentary opposition MPs that spoke to this bill when it came before the National Assembly last week. He said, no, what you all have here is control freakism. You all want control everything. You all know it all. Your GPL looking the way it looks. Guy Suko, writer got for read. But yet, you're dispossessing based on what we see. Caneview, Mocha, Hillfoot, Peters Hall, it looks a certain way. It has a complexion to it. Yet you're saying you want to build an inclusive Guyana? Lincoln Lewis says, no way. Ramjatan says, control freakism. Take a look. Kamraj.
That is control freakism. You ain't pay the adequate and prompt compensation yet, but you want possession. Yeah, that is what they want. And that is why he has put in that there. Now, you can say that the colonial people never saw need to do that, but now Mr. Anil Nandalal, honorable member as he is, who would like to clap himself, is saying that I got the power to do that and to take possession of the land, notwithstanding the completion of the arrangement for compensation. It is important that we see this little device moving and be alert and vigilant to it as to what it is that he seeks to do. If you want to put that the right to possession of the state to have the land, then put it in the Constitution. Put it in the Constitution. It is not there in the Constitution. Just like how they're saying the residency requirement must be required in the Constitution before we can go and talk about residency requirement. It ain't got nothing like stating that you got a right to the possession of the land prior to paying compensation. It states only that you must take my land after you pay me compensation. And in constitutional, adequate, and prompt right. And that is what it is. Oh, you will want to say, but it doesn't prohibit it. Well, what are the express provisions of it? Without that section, or clause, I will call it for this stage, it necessarily means that we are not in conformity with the Constitution. You're adding something in the law that is not in the Constitution. And that is what I am saying, because, you know, the collectivist attitude of these communists and communists, they feel that they could go and take away the people's land without paying the compensation. I agree, a concept called eminent domain. I agree that we have it in our Constitution, but our Constitution said before you take possession of it, you must, well, whatever Barnum do, I fight Barnum too, so don't give me that ball. The trouble is, you love to bring back conveniently history. Well, I was there with you. You probably weren't there when I was there. But the trouble is, we were all there. We fought against it, and we said the Constitution is the supreme law. And no other law that is inconsistent with the Constitution could ever, this one here, I am saying. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we have a situation where under the existing law, as Mr. Kroll indicated, and let us take Mr. Kroll's narrative as accurate, that what we did is that we went and we talked to the people. We went and we paid them $150,000 rentals at some apartment. We went and feed them. We went and do all the good things to them. That is true. You know why? Because of the Constitution indicate that you just can't go and dispossess the people like that. That is
Yep. You heard it there, folks. Pay the people. Pay them adequately. Not what you think they deserve. pay people properly. Pay people properly. Anything working in this country? Agile. One Agile. He reading the riot act to the Trinidad International Airport folks, the contractors who are building the new administration building. He says, shape up. And like Irfan, he said by the end of January, by the end of the first quarter, every 3 months he's run up there and read the riot act. He said, no more money, no more extensions. Here we are at the end of 2024, 23rd day of December. Riot acts still being read. The country doing what I want. So much for riot acts. Folks, I wish we had some more time. I wish we had some more time this morning. Right. There's an interesting editorial in Kaitro News. I think it is. As a matter of fact, it's read the Peep and Tom column as well. Talking about crime. Look over the weekend. 17-year-old bandit. At 17 years old, you just come out your mother's womb. What are young men doing on the streets in this country? Robbing folks. Kaitro News as well. I saw an article talking about another business being robbed over the weekend. What's happening in this country? All the while, a commissioner of police was appointed last week because the president said, oh, himself and colleagues, they're doing such a fantastic job. And one of the things Peep and Tom point out this morning is that on the ground, no. A super bet was robbed by what a newspaper called a cutlass wielding gang. Invaded a super bet outlet at Castillo housing scheme. Chopped one of the patrons. And people say Irfan is a transformational. It's a crime fighting we. Productivity at GPL. Productivity at Gaisuko. Fighting us. So many projects running behind schedule. Projects that are completed falling apart. Projects ain't got a 20, 30, 40 year lifespan now. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks lifespan. You come past all of that. Come past all of that. The editorials, the column sections in the newspaper tell their own story. Stanbrook News today in its 108th edition of this, how the cost of living affecting you, column, article. Go through it. Every instance. The more money we produce as a country in oil, more money they claim they're pumping into the economy, is the more the cost of living going up. The more things are rising fast. I spoke with some Gaisuko trainees over the weekend. A couple of them. I was shocked when I hear the stipend you receive for living in. It's about 12,000 a month, 4,000 a week. 4,000 a week. before they shut me down completely, let's take our leave here, good folks. Before we get knocked off completely, before we get lashed out completely, let us take our leave here. That's going to do it for us at this end. Thanks for joining us, folks. We're going to see you guys back on the next one. Naomi and Dolly and Grace Noel. Naomi wants to know if heads rolling at RN2. Let's get off quick before heads start rolling. Annette Bushmaster. Great to see you guys. We're going to see you guys right back here on the next one. Thanks for joining us this morning. That's going to do it for us at this end. That's our time, folks. And that's our program. Stay safe.